Continuing right along with Jake Hebbert's relook at natures of code or nature of code, he's looking at Perlin noise. And this one, I don't know how much I can walk through in 5 minutes. What's actually going on here? It's pretty absolutely incredible. So what I'm going to do is just turn off my turntable, take you into probably just the shaded view of what these scripts are doing. And I'll put them so we're not looking at any unless I'm clicking on it. This first one's pretty interesting. But I'm going to show you as we go in here. And I still have my other script up here, which is just a fun kind of script to see how things are done. And things aren't too much more complicated than what's happening here. Putting a list in and then appending that list and outputting that list. But let's go a little deeper because what happens here is not only are they making this purloin noise from a script here immediately when you go into here, when you download my file, you'd be like, uh-oh, they've imported Rhino script syntax. I get that, but I don't get the import Perlin. And what the import Perlin is connected to is it's this Python script over here, edit, that I went online and found. They show you in his video where to get that because I did not want to type that all in. This is a case of wanting to find a module or a library, bringing it in. And as long as I save that file, save as, and put that into my Rhino scripts, it's fine to call upon. So that's where you're going to watch their original videos and be able to bring that in and save that, because what's going to happen is you're going to bring in a Perlin noise, you're going to bring in a zip to that, open it up, and then you're going to cut and paste it into Rhino script editor, Grasshopper's Python script editor, and once that's saved, you can then import that in after your Rhino script editor in your nodes in the Grasshopper space. Hope that makes sense. The rest of the script is incredibly easy. It's a nested loop within an XY scale, adding your point, appending the list, and putting the points out there. So all that's happening in the script when that's done is you have your surface from points made, and then he goes so far as to make his points and put spheres at the ends of each one and then remaps that. So he has total control over it. Just take a second to load here, but give it 1 minute to load, and there you go. You got a pretty cool using the Z, not as a height, but as a radius of the spheres, and having your bounds limit. So if it stays within those bounds, you can actually have it make this cool pattern, this Perlin noise pattern. That's done. They go in and they say, okay, let's make a different Grasshopper script. Let's make a cube. And what he does to the cube is he actually ends up putting a beautiful box pattern. This should be pretty common for the intermediate or even basic Grasshopper user, how to use a setter box, how to make a mesh box, move that box, and do a custom preview of it. But the script itself in here becomes a little more complicated because they do the same thing, bring on Rhino script syntax as RS, import Perlin, and then they use the Perlin simplex noise, which has to be brought in here for this function down here, which will basically nest the IJK range, so you can go X, Y, Z, and then add your points and append the list, so you end up with a cube instead of a flat plane of shapes. And you can see that in here, that you end up with this cube, and when you start adding your boxes to it, it's kind of nice. And I like this little thing. I hadn't done anything like that. Just a little center box, mesh put one side on each one of those, and move that geometry and the motions of where all those points were. It just puts them all there. It's kind of like a bounding box going onto a surface. And the Perlin noise is really sweet for this box. And even though it may take a second, as I change the bounds and play with it, you'll see if you keep it low, it actually makes it almost like a building, like a Minecraft building that sits on the ground and becomes slowly more and more solid. It reminds me of the octree nodes that are over in Grasshopper. But a little different from that, and certainly utilizing the Perlin noise. I think that was something invented by a guy, Ken Perlin, or something in 2001. I don't know. I got to read up more on it. But if you want to read more on it, go into those tools after you download it. Go into your Python script editor right here. Oops, I'm going a little crazy. I must be excited. And here, there's so much wonderful information. Sorry, it was 2008. Oh, Casey Duncan had put this together. And then in here, I tracked down a little bit of information on what's going on. Read all of your, all your comment lines and strings in green, and you'll kind of figure out what's going on here. But I wouldn't say typing this thing in and try and get all these little digits correct. Understand the logic of it, but really get into the point that you're empowered by all these other things. And then when you're done, you got a pretty cool little object. So there it is. pretty cool little shapes, a couple of Perlin noises, and I've got a node that I can pull in and play with geometries off of that Python node. I don't want to write that script every time I want to do something with Perlin noise. And when you see the complexities in Python, I can only imagine what it would look like as Grasshopper nodes. So power to the programmer, power to the developer. I think it's a quote off of one of the things Rhino script that's really nice off of Daniel Rutten, and programmers definitely have to have a deeper understanding of things to get past kind of the beginnings and going deeper into their work. Anyhow, thanks for watching. I'll keep going. We're going to jump into vectors and keep going with Nature of Code by the works and videos of Jake Hebbert. So thanks very much for doing that. I feel like I'm behind a decade or two, but I'll catch up. Thanks for watching.